Hello and welcome, I'm Anupama Chopra and you're watching At the Movies. Over the next half hour, we'll bring you all that's new and exciting in showbiz. First, a conversation with the artist behind one of the year's most controversial films, Lipstick Under My Burkha. I'm chatting with director Alankrita Srivastav and actors Konkona Sen Sharma and Ratna Pathak Shah. After the break, we've got Rohit Shetty's directing commandments and my colleague Sucharita Tyagi will give you her take on the new Sridevi movie, Mom. So don't go anywhere. Lipstick Under My Burkha has had a tough time getting to a screen near you. The Central Board of Film Certification, also known as the Censor Board, rejected it last year, saying it was too lady-oriented and featured audio porn. The producer Prakash Jha fought back. The film went to the Film Certification Appellate Tribunal, which eventually passed it. I spoke to Alankrita, Konkona and Ratna about the film and why it made people so uncomfortable. Ratna, Konkona, Alankrita, good morning and thank you for this 9 a.m. interview.
Thank you.
It's the crack of dawn by showbiz standards. I have so many questions about this film, which has been making headlines, for reasons that must have been very difficult for all of you. What I notice now is, of course, the first thing, that the trailer is very different from what the trailer was. Is this a way of turning this whole censor situation, well, the censor situation is now over, but of using that controversy basically to market your film, just turning it on its head and saying, you know what, we're going to use this. Is it?
Well, actually, the fact of the matter is that we applied for the censor certificate at the end of December. I got it in my hand on the 3rd of June. That's almost 6 months. I don't think that it should take 6 months to get certification for one's film. So I think the film went through a lot. And of course, we couldn't plan anything vis-a-vis the release. And we did feel that what the censor board had said, the reasons they had cited for refusing certification were really illogical.
Well, I didn't understand, Radna, what was it? It was contagious sexual acts. I didn't understand what that meant.
Actually, the words they used was contagious, which...
Oh, not even contagious!
It was a very confusing thing.
It was a confusing one.
Okay. So we didn't even get what the problem was.
Yeah, the English is wrong, but the main problem is the thinking is so backward.
That is where the problem really is.
So for the thinking, you had also said that it's not even something in the film because there's hardly even a shot of a cleavage in the film. There isn't one. But it's the fact that it's a point of view of a woman. That's the essential issue that people seem to have with this film. And I'm sorry, I didn't even let you finish the first answer, but I really need to ask this, why do you think this is so troubling for people, a female point of view? What was your sense in the last 6 months?
Who wants to go with this one?
Ratna, would you like to start?
Why is it so troubling? I mean, we've been fighting this for a very long time now, in various ways. I frankly thought we've done with it. My mom and her generation fought for these kind of issues. My generation a little more, the generation just before, a little more about sexual rights, etc. But I didn't realize that at the age of 60, I'm still facing these kind of questions and these kind of issues. On the contrary, it looks like it's going to get worse.
Konkona, did you stop to think about what is it in this film that's, making people so nervous?
When I read the script, I have to say that these things didn't occur to us. It didn't occur to me certainly when, one read the script. It was such a nicely well-written script, well fleshed out, very authentic. It really rang true. And one never worried about, what's going to happen or that people are really going to have objections to it. I guess one never thought so far ahead. It seemed like an interesting project.
There's a difference between one generation and another. I immediately sensed we'll have trouble.
Really?
But I didn't think it's going to be like this and this ridiculous form. But she, having been brought up in a completely different world, this is the new Indian woman, I thought. I'm so horrified that it's not. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
No, just that. And so whenever actually I didn't think of this, that it would, be so controversial and attract so much attention. And honestly, if you ask me why, it's not like I know, because I don't think in that way, so it's not like I share those feelings and I don't get it. In fact, one of the characters in the film, Plabita, who's absolutely fantastic in the film, she asks that question, is there in the trailer, that why are you so scared, for our freedom? What are you so afraid of? And actually, I don't really know why people are so scared. If it is, stories about women, stories about women's inner lives, because a certain worldview and a certain point of view is kind of, enforced upon us. That we have to behave in certain ways, that we have to conform to certain things, and if we don't, then there's the fear, and I really don't know why.
So, Alankita, coming back to the trailer, it has been made far more sexual. It's more in your face. What has the response been, and is this sort of defiance in a way?
I think we have decided to go with an attitude of rebellion and defiance vis-a-vis our strategy about, in terms of marketing the film. I think it really does come from a space of having to fight so hard to just get it out into theatres. I don't feel that there's any, and I think this has definitely happened post everything that happened with the censor board, that I think for me it was like a wake-up call, that I realized that women are perhaps not as free to express themselves and tell their stories as I thought we were. And I do feel there's a lot of hypocrisy and double standards in society, and particularly with how the censor board sort of acted, because I feel there is enough sexual content in cinema in India. It's just that it's mostly always catering to male fulfillment. And the reason that I felt that the only reason that they had objections to the film, and objections in the sense that they didn't allow us to screen the film at all, is because it was a film that was not catering to the male gaze. It was making patriarchy uncomfortable, and it was just pointing out to those simple things that if you think that your bhabi or your chachi or your bua or your sister or your daughter, that typical way of identifying a woman, she's very happy and you think that's all she's up to and that's all that she wants. That's not true.
Well, Ratna, this role has certainly for you pushed the envelope. Hindi films rarely look at the sexuality of a woman, leave alone an older woman. For you to be doing this role, what was your thought process while you were doing it? You said when you first read the script, you knew there would be some amount of response and reaction. When you were shooting it, when you were doing scenes like you're masturbating, did you have any lines in your head about this is what I will do or this is what I won't do?
Well, I guess the only line was, is it going to be done without appearing to be titillating? That I definitely felt would have been completely wrong. I don't know, if we were giving out the message that this film is about exciting people with reference to sex, then I would have had a problem with it. It wasn't. In fact, everyone's going on about the sex in this film, but there's very little of it. So if people are going to come to watch it, hoping to see lots of dirty scenes, they're going to go away very disappointed. And all the sex that there is uncomfortable. It's not easy. In any case, for women, sex is not easy. And here's a film that's telling you so. And that is disturbing for women as well, to accept the fact that, yes, we do use sex sometimes. Yes, these are our various relationships with sex. So it is a soul-searching kind of film. So I had no real trouble with approaching the role or doing what was required. We had a couple of arguments and discussions, but I don't think there was any serious disagreement on the need of a scene like this, as far as the film is concerned.
I have to tell you, I was talking to somebody who saw the film at the festival, and she said to me, it's the first time that I thought of my mother as a sexual person after watching your role. And that itself is like, and of course that's uncomfortable too.
I have to tell you, one of the big sort of moments of development in my life was when I, as a teenager, realized that my parents did it. Oh my God,
course.
It was traumatic, as it has been for most of us, right? and having got past that, it took me time, no doubt, but having got past that, I think was a great liberating thing. Sex didn't matter so much. Otherwise, we create such a hawa about sex here. It's just one bit of life. Get on with it, I mean, stop focusing so much on it. और भी ग़म है ज़माने में मोहब्बत के सिवा,
Ankita, now looking back, now that you're closer to release and in a sense, the massive battle you have overcome. When we watch this from the outside, what happened with this film and the kind of responses, etc., it seems sort of almost darkly comic. It was like it had a theatre of the absurd quality of what went down, What was for you the single most bizarre experience in this whole journey?
I left, I had the meeting with the revising committee where finally Mr. Nilani told me that he will not be certifying the film, etc. And I think that I was traveling a lot post that. So it was just very strange, this thing of audiences all over the world, wherever we've screened it, loving the film. I just saw people standing in line in cold in countries where we had nothing. We did no promotions, nothing. It was just, I don't know what it was. It was just people were constantly coming to watch the film. And I just felt the love that the film got and how embraced it was by people from so many different cultures who don't know anything about India actually. And in most of these screenings, we didn't have any South Asian audiences or anything. And I feel the contrast in terms of how they embraced the film and the strange kind of stand that the CBFC took, I think the two things, it was a very strange experience for me because it was
very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it was just so weird.
And that's true. Nowadays when you travel abroad, you feel like that. You feel that, where are we in India? What are we doing? How could we be going backward so rapidly? It's really frightening, that thought. Exactly, I was abroad when this whole controversy broke. And the difference between the way in which people on the net were responding to the film and the trouble with the censor board. Look at the way people were talking in India. It was scary. What are we doing and where are we going?
Yeah, it didn't collate at all.
Yeah.
And I've always felt that about India, that I really feel like I'm a proud, modern citizen in the world. I can fit in anywhere. And now I was embarrassed about my country. Look at the goons we have let loose on us. Scary.
Yeah. Ratna, you said in an interview, and I really laughed, you said they can't even write good roles for Deepika Padukone. So where are they going to write good roles for me?
They can't even write good roles for Shah Rukh Khan. अब किसके लिए लिखेंगे? वो आता ही नहीं उनको, तो क्या करें वो? उनकी गलती नहीं, माफ कर दो.
But Ratna, then what does a talented artist do? How do you grow? You
for
just
something
wait?
like this to come. I'm bloody 60. I've been waiting for a very long time. So yeah, you wait. You do what you can. You work on yourself. And for a person like me, theatre keeps me alive, which is lucky. And
the last question, if you could change one thing about the current state of the Hindi film industry, what would it be, Kokana?
One amongst many things is that, the budget of a film seems to be, by and large, solely determined by how big the star is that you're taking in the film. But we also need to have some different kinds of content, because this is now something which we're saying okay, let's make something a little progressive, a little different. What about films that are experimental, or what about films which are completely, that don't fit into the, the plate that we've been given. So I feel that not enough experimentation happens because, people are so scared to, because of money, they're so scared, which is understandable. So instead of spending so much on one film, if you could spend less and spend more on many other different kinds of films, because you don't get the kind, if you want to take somebody who's, not a star who's right for the role, you're not going to get much money to make it. And that is not what should determine the budget of your film.
intelligent producers, desperate need of the day. People who are willing to take some risks also. And more importance given, better payments to writers. Without these two things, whatever we do, however many good films we make, we are not going to bump up the whole level. And change occurs only when large numbers get bumped up, right? I mean, एक दो चीजें होंगी होती, वो तो पहले भी होती थी, अभी भी होती रहेंगी. But if a significant change has to be made, then it will come from the writers and it will come from producers who can actually put their money where their mouth is.
Well, I think first and foremost, I feel that there should be many more women directors. I think that will definitely change the situation.
Well, we have two here on this table. How fantastic is that?
But we really I think the number of films that are made in India, And if you see the number of women directors, I don't think we would even be 0.1%. So I feel like the landscape of cinema will definitely change if there are more women behind the camera. The studio system in India is too scared. I just feel like, honestly, I can say that this film would never have been funded by a studio. It came into existence because there's a producer who's an independent entity who decided to take the risk and fund the film. But I don't see any studio who would have actually decided to fund this film. So I feel that studio system needs to figure out a way where, like Coco was saying, like either you have like a certain number of films and a certain amount of budget allocated to some cinema which is not just towing that mainstream line, which is not necessarily headlined by stars and all of that. I feel without that it's very difficult, because most of the mainstream films don't really challenge the status quo. So I feel even for art to have any kind of voice, to even say anything deeply significant, or even just tell like an interesting story, sometimes it's just hard because there's no funding. So I feel these two things would definitely lead to something changing.
Yeah, it is really hard. But hey, I live in optimism.
Yes.
I think it's a better way to be. And we're here. We've got a film releasing, right?
Yes.
It's a wonderful
it's a big
thing.
one.
It's a big one, exactly.
And the film is interesting. I have a feeling that it is going to get across only because it is not because it's talking about women, not because it's made by women, not because it's good for you to see it. It's not a bloody pill. It's an interesting film, and I think people will go to see it just for that.
Excellent. Thank you and good luck. It's time for a break, but don't go anywhere. I'll be back with Rohit Shetty and a review of Mom. Welcome back. You're watching At the Movies. Rohit Shetty is one of Bollywood's most successful directors. His films may not be a hit with critics, but he's got viewers lining up to buy tickets. Here he gives us his movie-making commandments.
The most important thing is you should not come out with a revenge. Okay, now I will show that what films are, or now I'll show how a film should be made. You should be in love with it. You should spread love. You can't be an escapist. You can't say, okay, it didn't do well because of this, it didn't do well because of that, or this reason or that reason. You need to sit and analyze okay, what went wrong. To take the responsibility of failure. That's the most important thing. You can't take decisions when you're nervous, and you should not take decisions when you're very happy also. You can go wrong. The secret behind keeping the unit happy is giving them respect. Giving them the platform that it is all happening because of them, that they are together. Taking them as family. If I have to call my AD, I will ask, can I speak to you? I don't need to do that, but by doing that, it's like I give them respect. I need to listen to them, and I do that a lot. In every decision I make in my life, they are there with me. A director can keep his ego in check after giving so many hits or being successful it's not happening because of him alone. Like when I made Golmaal, it was not my idea. Neeraj Vora came out of the blue, he narrated me a script and we made Golmaal. It became successful. All the Best was not my idea. Chennai Express was not my idea also. Chennai Express was K. Subhash, a story writer from South. He's directed few films in Hindi also. He came to me. He narrated me the script. And my theory is totally different. It's quite wacko. When a film is successful or when I am successful with a mission or with a project, I always go back and think, what if? What if K. Subhash didn't come with the script? What if Shah Rukh said no to the film? What if audience didn't like the film? What if my team didn't work for me and had the same passion as me? So always I give credit to a luck factor, and that keeps me grounded. The most important thing is the conviction. Never act as a director in front of an actor. Always remember, you will get caught. Be what you are. I will just go all out. If I'm convinced about the story, or if I'm convinced about not only a story, about a film or even a location, I will go all out. It comes from my heart, it's going to work, it will work. The only one time that I didn't go with my conviction was Dilwale. And I know where it went wrong and why it went wrong. So I always go with my conviction, and then no matter, like for example, if you remember Chennai Express, there is one scene we shot at Dudhsagar, where the train comes and stops, there is a waterfall. It was a terrain where everybody said that you can't shoot there because you have to go by train, you can't eat food there, you can't take your stuff there. There was, every day we had only 3 hours to shoot, but I said no, I want to do it, I will do it. And it worked, it always worked. I'll push my limit because I don't want to come back. Hits and flops will happen. I will again face a failure in some years, I don't know. But at the end of the day, you need to be honest. You need to be satisfied. Okay, whatever happened here, we gave 100%. That is more important for me.
The big Bollywood release this week is Mom, starring Sridevi, Nawazuddin Siddiqui and Akshay Khanna. I'm travelling, so I wasn't able to catch it, but my partner in crime, Sucharita Tyagi, saw it. Here's what she thought.
गलत और बहुत गलत में से चुनना हो तो आप क्या चुनेंगे? चल कहीं दूर चले, चल कहीं दूर चले, चल कहीं दूर चले.
Hey guys, my name is Sucharita and right now let's talk about Mom. The trailer had a bit of Kahani 2 meets Matra meets Talwar feel to it, but I guess the makers were trying to throw you off the scent. Maybe this is not a typical mother avenging her daughter type revenge drama, so they didn't give too much away. This here is a story more predictable than the fact that if my cooking didi sees cabbage in the fridge, you're damn well assured I'm getting cabbage for lunch. Sridevi is Devaki, a school teacher who knows when to be harsh and when to use the Salman Khan chart to explain what the scientific name for abs is. She's married to a rich businessman and they have 2 daughters, the elder Arya, who is the focus of the story. But then, why does she say this?
और आपने उन्हें बताया नहीं? क्या? कि मैं आपकी बेटी नहीं हूँ मैम?
It's an interesting plot twist to create some layered chemistry actually, so no spoilers. One thing I'm confident about right now though, oh my god, teenagers are the goddamn worst. The vanity and the exasperating, tiresome, misplaced enthusiasm of 18-year-olds. Arya goes to a party with other kids, wanting to ask her crush out on a date, but after spurning the advances of the school's bully bro, fragile masculinity takes over the course of action and all hell breaks loose. Seriously, what is it about the male testosterone that makes you forget all about consequences? Very curious. I don't want to give too much away seeing how the trailers kept it hush-hush, but remember when I said it's lunch mein cabbage level predictable stuff? Yeah, you won't have to guess twice to know exactly where this is going to go. Anywho, crap hits the fan and Sridevi has to now go all guns blazing to make things right again. Not surprisingly, in Nawazuddin Siddiqui we trust, who's a freaking chameleon by the way. Look at him!
मेरा नाम दयाशंकर कपूर है, but you can call me TK in short.
But at this point, calling Nawazuddin Siddiqui a good actor is like asking me, where is Ae Dil Hai Mushkil review? Pointless and futile. Together, Nawaz and Sridevi start collecting evidence, with police officer Francis, a rather delicious looking Akshay Khanna, hot on their tracks, genuinely torn between which side of the case he's rooting for. Sridevi is a true goddess though. When she smiles, the screen lights up. When she cries, she commands you to cry with her. Oh my god, you cannot disobey Sridevi. Maybe she should have told the scriptwriters what to do also. In the interval shot, she says, Bhagwan sab jagah nahi hota. To which Nawaz replies, Isliye to usne maa banai. Which would have been impressive had it literally not been a greeting card I've bought my mom at least 5 times in 28 years. It's post-interval, things rapidly move from emotional to bizarre and maybe end at, are you for real right now? Pakistani actor Sajal Ali as Arya is splendid and does not at a single note falter. And Adnan Siddiqui as Sridevi's husband Anand is a great fit for his part too. And I for one am happy to see a leading lady paired with a younger man. Irshad Kamil and A.R. Rahman, even though I really am no one to judge their talents, but here, there isn't a single track that really makes you feel the gravity of the situation. There is no "tu bin bataye," no "nadan parinde," no "sucker punch to the gut." You know what I mean? But what there is lots and lots of filmy moments, which spoil what could have been a grimy, dark, really uncomfortable film. But instead, in the second half, you know which character is going to do what at what point, and that's never fun. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, Mom is 50 years Devi has been in the industry. Since when my mom was a toddler, yo.
That wraps up our show. Do send us your feedback at anupama.chopra@itvnetwork.com. Until next week, have a great time at the movies.